Welcome to part 8 in this series on building a completely automated AI video editor. Now, this part 8, is about detecting shorts in long videos. So what if you could get a long video you've recorded and automatically extract shorts from it? So that is what part 8 is about. Now, bit of bad news. I am somewhat in the future. So I have already recorded parts 8 through 25. So there are 25 parts of this series. And I am going back and editing all the parts of this series. And I'm up to part 8, and there's a problem with part 8. The recording froze. So it's about a 35-minute recording. And the screen recording froze. So you've got me talking, but what's on screen here is completely frozen. I can't really recover it. There's no point recording it. Having listened to it, and obviously I remember it, it's actually quite verbal. What I'm doing in part 8 is I'm looking at the code Claude generated in part 2, where it generated a detect short script. And then I start looking at the script where it extracts those shorts using FFmpeg and burns them out. So this 35-minute video kind of looks at the code. I'm talking about the code a little bit, and I find a few problems with it. So there's good news and bad. Bad news is obviously that footage is lost. I'm gonna include it as soon as I'm finished here, so you'll be able to continue watching this and listen if you want to. You can probably skip it. It's going to be a bit dull, I think, just listening to me and not having the context of what's on screen. But yeah, you're not going to miss too much if you just go to part 9, because most of part 8 in the recording is me actually just trying to understand what Claude had built with the detect shorts and extract short scripts. I find a few problems. They're coming out widescreen versus in sort of vertical ratio. And then in part 9, I think I get more into fixing the problems. So that's to come. The good news is this whole series has gone very, very well. And I'm going to give you a sneak peek of where this gets to. So we have a fully built UI. So I move away from the scripts later on in the series. I get Claude to build me a UI. You can see from this I have thumbnail generation. That's going through Nano Banana. Now, some of these aren't going to load correctly, but this will give you an idea of where the scripts are at. So we were up to about step 7 last video. Obviously, step 8, detect shorts, was this video, which you're going to watch next if you stick around. We have a new thing, generate overlays. I'm starting to use this to edit these videos. So you're going to see these overlays come in. You're going to see that later on in this series. You're going to see how I've done that. It's very cool. The rendering takes care of all of the rendering of both the main video and the shorts. There's a change coming up in how I record and how I do a really, really cool thing with getting the main video different from the shorts. That's coming up in a couple of episodes. I got captions going on the shorts. You're going to see those in this series before you even get to the part where I build that. Obviously, thumbnail generation I've just covered, and a whole lot more. This shows you the metadata that we produce for the videos. I'm starting to use this to publish videos, social media posts. The shorts there, you can see some of those. It even ranks them and tells me, hey, we think this is a good one, this is why. These don't have the captions on. That's not a problem. There's the thumbnail. There's the analysis. So this is Claude looking at the videos and going, hey, we think you're wasting time here or going on a tangent, etc., etc. So this gets very, very far. So you're on part 8. There are 25 parts I've recorded. They're going to go out once a day. As soon as I'm done recording this, I'm going to record part 26. I'm going to keep that a surprise. Stick with this series and you will learn every step of how I've built all this with Claude. and am using it to publish the series. So this is totally working for me. The whole thing is, I won't say 100% hands-free. There's still a little bit of human intervention, but it's saving me hours and it's working. So that's where we get to. So I'll stop there. I'll stop the tease, stick with this, and now I'm going to let this video continue into the recording of part 8. As I say, it's dull, it's boring, you got a frozen screen, but I wanted to keep it for posterity just so all of the recordings I've made are complete in this series and you have the kind of full thing end to end. And with that, I'll see you in part 9. Okay, we are back for part 8. I made a mistake. I in the last video I kept saying, oh, part 9. What these numbers are, I was gonna like sequence videos I'm uploading to the channel, which I'm gonna change. I'm gonna do away with this. So I was referring to part 9, which is not part 9. That's what would have been 9th video. The actual parts of the video are here: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So apologies for confusion there. So part 7 was the last video. The titles will be correct on YouTube. So we're now recording part 8. That's literally this. You can see OBS spitting out the recording as I speak here. So last part was generate content, working great. I was talking about tweaking the prompt to get it to write in my style, and then I was just looking at it, and I noticed in the prompt Claude has written, it says this: written in first person matching the speaker's voice. So in theory, and I haven't looked at it yet, it shouldn't need any changing. It should match how I'm talking in the video in terms of how the article is written, which would be perfect, because then I don't need to do any sort of crazy kind of, oh, you know, make me sound smarter, or, you know, stop sounding hypey. If that's how I sound in the video, that's how all this writing will sound. That's good as well. Avoid clickbait that misrepresents the content. So depending on what you're doing and what your strategy is, like, this is the kind of thing you might go, no, I want clickbait titles all the time. But I think the problem with those is, yeah, you get loads of traffic, but then people start watching the video and they go, this is shit, it doesn't match what you promised in the title, and then your watch time tanks, and that's the thing YouTube care about. So this is kind of fundamental. Having said that, those titles, they're a bit clickbaity, but I mean, there's good curiosity in that. That doesn't say to me it's promising something it's not going to deliver. So I'm good with it so far. We'll see what it generates. Bit of background noise here, lots of crazy. These are cockatoos in Sydney, going mad at 2 p.m. So apologies for that. Hopefully they've shut up now. Let's get into script 8, detect shorts. So this is another one. I have no freaking idea how this is going to run. If this goes south anywhere, I think it will be here. So let's see what we get. I can tell you now, like, I'm going to change this. If this works, there's a change I want to make that will change how these shorts are generated anyway, and I'll talk through that in a second. Once I've got this going, let's get Claude to work. I'll get this running. We'll deal with any failures first, and I suspect this won't be quick because it's got to churn through the video again. And then I'll talk about how I'm thinking about the shorts, because it also affects how I'm actually recording these videos as well. It makes it more complicated. Essentially, I want to split the video recording from the screen recording. So I'll end up with 2 videos out of OBS per recording, and then I will edit the video and the screen recording in separately. So that's the teaser. And I'll talk about that more in a little bit. So we've got a script. Now, what does this need? Just needs the job ID. Note this requires step 6 to have been run first for Step 2, since it reads narrative analysis. Okay. Maybe let's understand what this does a bit better. Not in the README. So a mistake I made, because I started this quickly, is not getting Claude to document its work. Which is fine, because I can go and say, tell me how this works. But like in my other projects, I have like an architecture.md file, which is like, what is the overall architecture of the software I'm building? And then in my instructions for Claude or Copilot, which again I haven't got here either, I tell it for every change it makes, update the architecture. So the architecture is like this overall blueprint of what the software is. It's not quite the same as, hey agent, these are the rules I want you to follow, but it's like you should be able to refer to this architecture document and have a good understanding of how the overall system operates, especially as things get complicated, because you might change one thing and not have an idea of how it has a knock-on effect against the others. So exactly how I was talking about reviewing Git changes and seeing differences, when you get Claude to update an architecture document, the difference between what it was and what the changes have done give you kind of an English language overview of, oh, okay, I've made this kind of change and that's its impact. Ends up being a living document that lives alongside the code. So you're not just having to go, hey, explain what this script does, explain what this script does, how does it all fit together? Let's have a look at this script. Because there should be... Oh, I've given it the wrong script name. I gave it 6, so that's immediately wrong. Oh, no, it did do the right one. It's just telling me I needed 6, so I copied the wrong thing in. Okay, that's cool. Leave the new line. Detect shorts. What does this do? Identify short candidates from the structural analysis. No additional API AI call needed. Criteria. Segment type is main point or strong demo. Confidence above threshold. Duration between min and max. Interesting. Interesting. So that narrative analysis is key to that narrative analysis step is key to this. So essentially it's saying, having ranked each part of the videos, this will then go, okay, do those parts meet the criteria for generating shorts? My expectation of this is like, not every video is going to be able to have, say, 5 shorts generated from it. This may go, look, you did a shit job and I can only really extract 2 shorts. Take them or leave them. Let's see what it does. Let's see how this goes. I'm fully expecting to have to iterate this. Let's get clear terminal, detect shorts. Found 4 short candidates. Okay. Where's it put those short candidates? Cool. Okay. Let's move on to script 9. And spit these out. Render outputs. Produces final video and all approved shorts renders. Apply editorial cuts from step 6 if approved in review. Apply cold open reorder if recommended. Append bumper intro and output. Render main video. Render each approved short. Okay, so this is going to need some input. Let's just see how that is called from the pipeline. So you see here, step script. And I talked about a human in the loop kind of review stage in the original PRD. So here we go. Get to detect shorts. Great. Does that. 9. Render outputs. Produce final video and all shorts rendered. If approved in review. So I think the expectation is those shorts candidates, yeah, see that? So it's left those as null. So the idea here is, just got caught by Claude writing shit in the notes. I'm thinking I'll just auto-approve all these. Certainly for testing, let's just get everything running. So if we search for approved, in render 9. Approved cuts. Interesting. Okay. So there's two things it's expecting to happen here. It's going to need a UI. So that narrative analysis it did, it's going, hey, trim this out, keep this, etc. This should have some approval metadata somewhere where I go, yeah, do this, do this, do that. I'm not seeing where that would happen here, though. The shorts candidates, that makes more sense to me. So that's like, if I had a UI and I go, yeah, this one sounds good, check that, check that, check that, then it would render it. But I'm not clear on how it would process the main video. So this is really doing a lot of heavy lifting in this script. It's going, I'm gonna do everything in one go. I'm gonna generate the shorts, I'm gonna generate the final video. Tempted to get it to separate this. Because it's going to make it more complicated. Build segments from decisions. Review decisions. Where are the review job managers? Yeah. So that's in the manifest. Ah, okay. Now it's making sense. So you wouldn't see all this. This would all make a lot more sense in a UI. So the manifest review decisions. That's going to be blank. Short candidates. Okay, and it's copied all this into here. And so I need to set all these to approved. Render output. That should do nothing. If I don't do it, if I do no, if I say no, don't cut that, don't cut that. It won't do anything. Build cut intervals sorted by time. Get recompose video via probe. So this is another round of cuts on the main. Render with bumpers. I'm not going to get into this yet. So that's about overlaying logos and things. I haven't got any, so I'll have to set that up and do that in a subsequent video. The shorts is the bit I'm kind of interested in, right? So that's going to go here. Approved shorts. If approved is true. Okay, cool. So we just need to set this to true for each of these, and it should smash them all out. So the other thing I will do is go with detect shorts. Approved. Yeah. Set during a review session. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to auto approve shorts. So when it does this in future and detects the shorts, I'm just going to say, yeah, just render them all out. Or what we might do is set that based on the confidence level. So I'm going to need to test this on a few rounds of video, and then we might find, okay, ones under 0.7 are a bit crap, ones over 0.8 are generally good, so I'll go, okay, auto approve everything over, say, 0.8. That makes sense. I might draw a diagram for all this, because it starts to get a bit complicated here, because at the moment we've just kind of gone pipe to this stage. I know all that content that the last step produced is a little bit complicated with blogs and posts and things, but now we're getting into, right, now we're going to spawn out multiple videos. So understanding that, and then potentially having settings that could apply per job, where I'm like, don't render these shorts, and it just tweaks how it runs. Maybe where this ends up, I don't know. I'm going to run this. It's going to take a while, I think. Or shall I get it to skip the main video? Let's just run it and see. I can always terminate it. Suffice to say, it's been pretty reliable up to this point. So code runs, generate shorts, no, render outputs. So we're on render output. So a really cool thing about this series up until this point is I've been a bit worried about silence, like me having to pause and think and do stuff while I'm recording and it leaving dead space. but now I know this process works. I know it's going to get cut automatically, which is super cool. Okay, got the script for number 9, just needs the job ID. As it says here, it needs all those prerequisites. That's pretty obvious by this stage. And we'll run. This is doing multiple videos, right? So this is going to need... I'm going to want that progress bar per video, because this is just going to be staring at dead space here. So while that's running, let's go back to Obsidian. I am going to add some to-dos here. So detect shorts. First to do is auto approve shorts creation based on tolerance. So confidence tolerance. So to get an example of that, so here's shorts candidates. So that's going, okay, so confidence and score. So it's probably more score. Let's say score. So we got 0.88, 0.86, 0.6, 0.59. So I'd imagine this is going to create some fairly marked difference between these the 0.6 greater than 0.8 scores and the ones that are kind of 0.6. So we'll take a look at these when this is done and see whether the threshold's going to be around there. Having said that, that would leave us with 2 shorts. That's fine. Yeah, we'll have to tweak with that. And I mean, the bigger problem here is these first 2 shorts could just be complete junk, and then it's like, okay, I have to abandon this auto short generation idea. Another idea I had, like what this is going to do is it's just looking for chunks, right? So it's just going to go, hey, trim out, what's this, 41 seconds of video and make that short. So you're scrolling on your phone and then you slam into, a 40-second segment of me, which in theory should be self-contained. Is that going to be entertaining or not? I suspect it won't be. What I would much rather this did was go, okay, find segments of me speaking in the video where if you had like 5 seconds here, 6 seconds here, 7 seconds here, so bits throughout the video, you could grab each of those, stitch them together, something like between 20 to 40 seconds, and then it's like a more fast-paced cut. I think that would work much better. So that's kind of a stage 2. This is done. So we got a final video and 3 shorts. Let's take a look and see what kind of disaster we have here. Apologies in advance for the audio. It's going to double up, so apologies for that. So the final video, this shouldn't be any different from the re-render because we haven't given this anything to do, like it hasn't appended a bumper or anything over that recomposed one. Even though it's 80 meg smaller, that'll be the FFmpeg settings. So I'm going to add a quick to do for that. Make FFmpeg settings for final video higher for intermediate video. So the intermediate video, we want that much higher, near as high as it can go. The final video, we'll just get it a bit higher. All right. So this should kind of be the same. Okay, next part. Coming off the back of the previous one with OBS, I've upped the recording quality in OBS starting from this video. So once this one's recorded, so no surprises there. That was the recomposed. So this would be identical. If I work on like an outro, something like that, that would change it. But this is essentially the same video. Same length, 17 minutes 27.
Okay, next part. Coming off the back of the
and you can hear one of those silence cuts at the start. There's lots more later on. All right, let's check the shorts out. Here we go. Okay, so first problem is the resolution. This is not a short. So we'll talk through this in a minute. Let's just listen and find out what it's got.
Editorial recommendations. 2 cuts recommended. Overall score 5.4 out of 10. So basically, it's going your video. Where has this spat out? Right, here we go. Let's sort word wrapping so we can read it. Just so you know what I did there. Command-Shift-P in VS Code opens the command palette, and then I just typed in word wrap and hit.
Yeah, there's problems. Let's look at number 2.
I've got credits, so we can run this. And because we've got the video and everything else, and the transcript, most importantly, this should run. So it may fail. Let's see what happens. Pass 1, structural mapping. So it's going to make an API call to Anthropic. Hopefully it works, and this video doesn't become 40 minutes of debugging broken Anthropic code. Pass 2, editorial recommendation. So this is going over video 1 in this series. So video 1 is just me talking about writing the PRD in Claude and what this project's about. Interesting. 3 segments classified, 3 mark.
Yeah, not that good. Not that good. So I won't watch any other ones. Like, that's 1 and 2. Maybe let's watch a little bit of number 4. Because this is one of the lowest scored ones.
This narrative may just be a good signal for me to go, your videos are shit because of this reason. And then maybe over time, I get a graph that tells me because it's giving me this feedback proactively, then I can go, okay, I need to do less of this. So it may just help me improve just based on an AI analysis.
Yeah, okay. So 2 things I'm thinking. Firstly, the format of the video is just completely wrong. We need to fix that. The second is, if there was an overlay on screen that was describing what I'm talking about, it would make more sense. So if someone scrolls onto that, because you can tell just from listening to that, like, those segments aren't necessarily making a lot of sense in isolation. But if there's just some, 2-line simple software engineer codes analysis of own content, something like that, someone will see that and then they start listening and then they think, oh, okay, what's he talking about? And it may or may not be interesting. And really all this is about is feeding people back to the longer videos. So there's problems here. Let's talk through these and then I'll close this video off. I'm going to have a think offline about some approaches, test a couple of things, which I don't need to screen record because they'll be boring. And we'll go from there. So this is going to be a new PRD. So this is kind of high priority. Short creation improvements is really what we're doing. So this is how I work. If I'm working on something bigger than just a bug fix, it's like I'm going to write out what I want, think about it, get Claude back in plan mode and go, hey, what do you think? And then iterate with Claude until it goes, yeah, this is cool, we can do this. So there's 2 key problems. Problem number 1 is the video resolution. So what it's currently doing is just rendering the widescreen video as the short video. what we want, desired state, is vertical, and let's put 16:9, even though it's not actually true 16:9, it will be. Vertical 9:16 video suitable for TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Reels. Okay, that's problem number one. I'm going to talk through my thoughts on that in a sec, because it's to do with the type of video I'm creating. Problem number two is I'll call it content value of shorts generation approach. So current state for this one is pipeline tries to detect interesting segments to extract as shorts. Desired state, I'll say additional, I'll call it algorithm that extracts short clips from across the whole video that form a narrative when edited together. So I think I spoke about this in one of the last videos, i.e. if I'm talking about, oh, this is what I'm going to do, and then I start demoing it, and then there's another bit where I'm going, oh, it worked. My expectation is there's enough in that transcript for it to go, okay, that bit and that bit and that bit put together would form a interesting combination of clips that would be pseudo watchable. So this is again another idea that just may not work, because it's very dependent on what's in the video, what's being spoken about. But this approach is also what I'd want to do for an intro. So where I was talking in the last part about having those kind of teaser reel pre-roll heavily edited intros that a lot of channels are doing now, this is exactly the same thing. So it would be maybe a tweak that just goes, hey, pick out the most controversial, exciting, high energy moments from the video and make an intro, make a pre-roll based on those that I could then edit music in, etc. And that would become the front of every video in the pipeline. So I think that's possible. We will have to see. So these are the two problems we've got with this. So I think problem two I've explained pretty clearly. Problem one, let me talk through this. So what I'm doing is I'm recording widescreen, and it's code, right? So it doesn't look, it's never going to look great shrunk into a reel. What's more interesting is me and me reacting. So if it's chopping out bits where I am, excited, whatever, my visual state is going to be more interested in the actual code. The code is kind of just supporting content. No one is reading code on reels. Now, I saw an advert, Anthropic actually running on Facebook. I desperately hope it gets put in front of me again. I'll have to start liking and following Claude on Facebook, where they've kind of done the format I want, where they've got an engineer talking about, he's got Claude to like control Raspberry Pi or something. So it's mainly got his face. So he's got the cam feed, the code's kind of up the top, so what would be on screen here. And then I think down the bottom it's got another visual, and they've got a big bit of text that anchors what the short is about. That's, I think, the style to go for. In order for me to pull that off, I need to separate the webcam recording down bottom here where I am from the screen recording. I can do that in OBS very easily. I can get it to spit out two videos. All the stuff I've done with OBS, like masking my video feed here in a circle, I drop all that. And then this pipeline would have to change so that the main video, like where it does the recompose, it would essentially reconstitute the webcam with the screen recording. And then for the shorts, it would go, oh, okay, because this is a short, I'll put the code up the top, the screen record of the code at the top, the webcam in the middle, and it would generate something 916 more appropriately. So this is a bigger architectural change. There's one other benefit of doing this and getting these videos in recorded with the webcam and the screen recording separate. And I was chatting to Claude about this last night as well, which is I can get this to cut between the whole screen being me as the webcam. Like a segment like this where the screen's not moving, it's just me talking, I'd want me full screen. If I'm doing stuff and coding and whatnot, then I'd want it to go, hey, cut the scene to go, you know, the style you're seeing at the moment where it's like me webcam in the corner. So that's another kind of tweak I want to make, but it's a bit more complicated. That will require kind of, I'll say, spikes tests around FFmpeg's ability to detect motion, which I've got down here. So there's freeze detect, there's a couple of other options. I don't need to do that yet. So the first thing I would do is go, okay, if I'm going to start doing audio, if I'm going to start doing webcam and screen as separate videos, this will be a simple tweak to go, okay, just put those back together. And then when we get to this render outputs bit for the shorts, I'll just get it to go, okay, hang on, treat those separately. Hope that makes sense. So that's how I'm thinking about this. I need to do a bit of research. It's going to be better I do that offline, and then I'll figure out where I'm going to pick up next. I'm going to do some tests with OBS and see if I can get that dual capture working okay. And then I might start on refactoring some of those earlier scripts to deal with a dual video output if it works. So we'll leave this here. Shorts, not a complete disaster, needs work, so I think this could work. We'll still need a lot of testing, I think, but yeah, that's where we are.